Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. Primary season is still in bloom, and Republican internecine violence is still thriving. Freedom Caucus Chair Bob Good from Virginia is best known for opposing his own Speaker of the House and rejecting Donald Trump to support Ron DeSantis for president. Now, with his political life on the line, with a challenge from State Senator John McGuire, Good claims he's a Trump man, but Trump ain't buying it.
John is running against Bob Good, who is actually bad for Virginia and who will stab you in the back like he did me.
Not much nuance there, nor is there nuance or discretion as some ambitious Republicans try to wrest power from Trump and inherit the mantle while he is still very much alive. We all know folks who tend to take our pulse every time they shake our hands, professing loyalty, but really just waiting on the coroner to pull up. Trump's endorsement may carry great weight with GOP primary voters, but not with some of his previously obsequious supporters. In Illinois, Matt Gaetz backed challenger Darren Bailey over Trump-endorsed Mike Bost. Bots won, if you're wondering. Gaetz backed Adam Morgan in South Carolina against Trump-endorsed incumbent William Timmons. Timmons won, if you're wondering. In Texas, Gaetz backed challenger Brandon Herrera against incumbent Tony Gonzalez. Gonzalez won with the help of Texas Governor Greg Abbott. And now in Virginia, Gaetz is backing Bob Good, rejecting Donald Trump's belief that Good stabbed him in the back. It would be quite the spectacle if the head of the House Freedom Caucus were actually dispatched in a primary. But it's also quite the spectacle watching ambitious politicians try to inherit a political movement from someone who is still very much around. Joining us is Julia Manchester, who is the national political reporter for The Hill. Welcome, Julia. Thank you for joining us again. What do you make of Virginia? I mean, Trump and other members of Congress are openly supporting challenger John McGuire over Bob Good, who heads the Freedom Caucus, but others are defying Trump.
Yeah, look, this is a very divided district. And, I think this race is showing, the deep fissures within Republican primary races. I think former President Trump looks at this race very personally. He saw Bob Good's decision to back DeSantis at a time last year when there were a number of indictments stacking up against the former president as a stab in the back. This is very, very personal for him. And, his endorsement of John McGuire does seem to be paying off. That being said, though, we know that Bob Good knows that district very well. He's been pouring a lot of money into this race. And despite the fact that he does not have Trump's support, he's been very much campaigning as a Trump Republican. And in fact, just before Trump endorsed John McGuire, Bob Good was a number of the Republican lawmakers and figures who showed up at the courthouse or outside of the courthouse in Trump's hush money payment trial. So it's definitely a very intriguing race to watch. The polling that we've seen shows John McGuire up and ahead by 10 points. I mean, this would be a major loss for someone like Bob Good. And it looks like it's going to be a bit of it could be potentially a landslide. That being said, though, this is the first time Bob Good has run an official primary. We know that he's only competed in conventions before, which in Virginia are very different. So certainly a race to watch on Tuesday.
Let me move to a race a little closer to where I live. Actually, it is where I live, in South Carolina. Incumbent William Timmons lost his home county of Greenville to challenger Adam Morgan, but Morgan was so soundly defeated in Spartanburg that Timmons actually wound up winning. So why would Matt Gaetz get involved against a Trump-backed incumbent like William Timmons? What has Timmons done to Matt Gaetz?
It's a good question because we see, these divisions playing out in primaries across the country where you see someone like a Matt Gaetz, who is a natural ally of former President Trump, endorsing against candidates that former President Trump has endorsed. Look, I think you alluded to this in your monologue before. A lot of these figures like Matt Gaetz are trying to build their own political brand. They're trying to see how strong their own political brand is going forward. And, you can't. It's hard to compete against someone like former President Trump. His name ID, his name brand is obviously monumental compared to someone like Matt Gaetz. That being said, though, Matt Gaetz is still seen as a rising star within the conservative MAGA movement. So I think this is sort of, an opportunity for him to maybe throw his weight around a little bit.
Yeah, I got to tell you, most people do not enjoy it when you take their pulse while you're shaking their hand. It's a little obvious when you're doing that. Let me move to the broader picture, this member versus member violence. Mike Johnson has told them to knock it off. They're not knocking it off. At some point, they're either going to have to govern together or something else is going to happen. How are they going to patch up? I mean, when you campaign against an incumbent, it is taken personally and for a long time. How are they going to get over this?
It's going to be very difficult, and it comes at a time when you see the Democratic conference in the House relatively united. They have their own issues. That's very true. But, you see the Democratic conference united, and, you have Republicans already facing this very uphill climb to keep their majority in the House. It's a very, very narrow majority right now. So I think Mike Johnson is very much trying to lay down the law here, trying to get these members together in the same room, et cetera. But, it seems like time and time again, we're not seeing that play out. It's just a continuation of issues for this Republican conference. So maybe as we get closer to the election, once the conventions come around and such, once these primaries are over, we'll see a unification. But right now, it's really not looking good with the infighting.
We shall see if the Republican conference schedules a couples therapy session. I doubt it, but we shall see. Julia Manchester, thank you for joining us on a Sunday night.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.